Good morning. At this time, we'll call to order the Board of County Commissioners meeting for Thursday, October the 18th. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Schaefer.
Here.
Commissioner Allen is absent. Commissioner Klicka.
Here.
Commissioner Osterhaus.
Here.
Commissioner Ashcraft.
Here.
Commissioner Brown.
Here.
And Chairman Eilert.
Here. We do have a quorum present. Would you join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would ask of those who are present, if you have a noise-making device, if you could turn it to silent mode or off so as not to interfere with our communications, as all of our meetings are streamed online. We do have a couple of presentations to make this morning, so we'll do so at this time. I'm going to ask District Court Judge Kevin O'Brady to join me at the podium. And I think, Judge, you have some other guests with you. Would invite them to come to the podium also. We have a proclamation in recognition and celebration of the pro bono work that our attorneys do every day of the week and under many different circumstances. You all can come back here. Yeah. And Judge O'Grady, I think you have a few comments and information you can share with us. Next week is the official celebration, so thank you very much for being here and sharing with us this morning.
Thank you.
I'll present this proclamation to you.
Thank you so much.
Any comments? Well, you're welcome.
Thank you. Well, good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. Thank you so much for having us here today. I'm very pleased and honored to accept this proclamation, recognition of Celebrate Pro Bono Week. Next week, 21st to the 22nd, is recognized across the country as a week when we celebrate attorneys and paralegals and those in the legal professions who give of their time and talents free of charge to those in the civil areas that for those people who need help. This focuses on the attention of hundreds of thousands of lawyers and paralegals who provide free legal help, improving the lives and friends of neighbors. According to the most recent study, almost 3/4 of all lawyers in the country report doing pro bono work each year. And I don't think people realize that most lawyers actually do give a lot of time away. The goal of pro bono work, obviously, is to meet the increasing needs for legal representation for low-income and vulnerable citizens. 40%, an ABA study recently said 40% of all those who are low and moderate income households will experience some sort of need for civil representation in a legal matter. Right now, between all the different services we have, we're able to only meet about 20% of those needs. So that's the whole point behind the Celebrate Pro Bono, is not only to thank the people who are doing that 20% work, but also to encourage others to do the same or to do more. When you think about it, I mean, a lot of times we have, you think, well, people get lawyers in court. I have a family court docket, which means I do divorces and parentage cases and protection from abuse, that kind of thing. And I often have folks come and say, can you appoint a lawyer for me? Well, if it was a criminal case, I could, but a civil case is where we can't do that. So the kind of things that these folks work on are domestic violence, divorce, paternity, landlord-tenant disputes, debtor-creditor disputes, tax problems, civil rights, it goes on and on, adoptions, it goes on and on and on, the different things that that these people need help with. So I wanted to point out that we have some people here that do this kind of thing every day. Marilyn Harp is the What happened to Marilyn? Oh, she ran away. Marilyn Harp is the Executive Director of Kansas Legal Services. KLS is the largest provider of legal services in our state to low and income vulnerable folks. They've been doing this for 40 years. She's joined by, from her office, Leland Cox, Alex English, and I thought I saw Casey Johnson came in too. They actually do a lot of the coordinating of finding the volunteers, getting them assigned to help people. Last year, if I read the website correctly, I think they served 896 people. Lawyers donated over 2,000 hours to those 900 people. Also here is Everett Fritz. Everett is one of our lawyers who regularly participates at the District Court Help Center. I encourage you, if you've never visited our help center, please do. It's been open now for a little over 4 years. It's in the first floor of the courthouse across the street. It provides, as we say, services for the 80% of the kind of regular things that most people have to deal with every day. And so Mr. Fritz is one of the, we have practicing lawyers, retired lawyers, semi-retired lawyers. We even have some former judges who come in during the week and meet with folks who need some legal advice. Our volunteer lawyers have literally donated hundreds of hours. Also here is Stephanie Benson-Hubbard. She is a practicing attorney here in the state, in Johnson County. She's a vital member of our Johnson County Family Law American Inn of Court. She recruits and coordinates volunteer attorneys who come once a month to our help center and provide assistance at night court. We run a night court once a month so that folks can come to court without having to miss work. If you're, working a minimum wage job, it's a big thing to have to take a day off of work. So because of her, we're able to have some help for these people when they come in and get their matters taken care of in the evenings. We thank you so much. It's a really an encouragement to both the Bar Association, the lawyers, the courts to have the support of the commission, both in doing these kind of proclamations, all the help you've given us with the Help Center, all the work you've done with KLS. We have, I think it's already been passed out, we have a thing that we've been giving to lawyers when they promise to work a case for KLS or donate time in the Help Center. We give one of each of those for you. We hope you'll show them proudly. So thank you so much. Is there anything I've missed? I should have covered? No, all right. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Well, again, a special thank you to members of the Johnson County Bar Association, the American Bar Association, for emphasizing and filling a very, very important need in each of our communities. Thank you very much. So if we can kind of come together, we'll...
By all means.
Judge, you want to hold up the proclamation?
Oh, I can do that.
Get you two in the back. There you go. There you go.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I would stay longer, but if it was.
No, you're fine. Next, I'm going to ask Angela Walsh-Fisher to join me at the podium. And you have someone to come with you also, or some folks. Please come right on up. We have a proclamation recognizing the National Disability Employment Awareness Month. And Angela is one of our employment supervisors from Johnson County Developmental Supports. They do some terrific work in assisting individuals to participate in employment opportunities in our communities. So I will present this proclamation to you in recognition of that outstanding work. And if you'd like to make some introductions or comments, why, you're welcome to.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
All right, thank you, Chairman Eiler and Commissioners, for recognizing National Disability Employment Awareness Month. One of the major ways we at JCDS support individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities is by assisting them with whatever they may need to join the workforce, whether it's making connections between clients and potential employers, helping with resume writing, doing practice interviews, or providing on-site coaching. Once a client gets a job, we are supporting them every step of the way, and it makes us proud to do our jobs every day. I wanted to take this opportunity to share a success story with you. Michael Gaber is a 2018 Project Search graduate, and he was hired in August by Shawnee Mission Medical Center as a patient transporter. Michael works 40 hours a week and transports roughly 15 to 25 patients to and from various departments within the hospital for tests, to their rooms after they have been exited out of the emergency room, and then to their cars when it's time for them to go home. This job is physically and mentally demanding, and as Michael is transporting very sick patients in both wheelchairs and their beds with their IV poles and sometimes oxygen tanks. Michael is already building an incredible reputation for himself as being detail-oriented, hardworking, dependable, and most of all, friendly and professional. One patient and his supervisor described him as standing out because he always goes above and beyond to make the patients feel comfortable and cared for. Michael has had several patients and the nursing staff commend him for his professional, friendly, and calming demeanor. Michael has several people who are in the audience today to support him, including his proud parents, Tammy and Kurt, Rodney Weber, who is a mentor for Michael when he interned at the Adult Residential Center, Callie Anderson, who is with Human Resources at Shawnee Mission Medical Center, and Callie has actually assisted us with not only placing Michael, but 3 other former Project Search graduates. So we're very, very proud of our partnership with them and look forward to working with them in the future as well. So now I would like to invite Mandra Lush, who is Michael's supervisor, up to say a couple words.
Hi, my name is Mandra Lush. We were very excited to get involved in this project and welcome Michael onto our team. We didn't know what to expect when we first welcomed Michael. We knew that we might have some challenges at first, but to our delight, Michael has actually stepped up and been one of our most talented transporters that we have on our team. It is not uncommon that we don't have a day go by that we have someone that approaches us and compliments us on his outstanding work that he does. It is a very challenging role, not only physically, but he has excelled in his interpersonal skills. I myself has witnessed him, I've shadowed him, and I've seen him work with patients, and he has just excelled on taking on a personal aspect with patients and made them feel so welcome and so taken care of that it is just a joy to watch him. Not to mention, I'm very particular about my processes, and he has set a shining example for the rest of the transporters, even though he is one of the newest people on the team. And so I have been very proud of him to have him a part of our team. So we welcome Michael with open arms, and I hope he stays for a very long time.
Well, let me say thank you to Shawnee Mission Medical Center and the other private sector employers who are willing to step up and assist in this very, very important project. And Michael, I'll turn the microphone over to you if you'd like to say a few words. Why?
I'd just like to say that I really appreciate how Angela and Mandra accepted me into Project Search and Shawnee Mission in general. Forrest, Chris, and Kim right here over here, they've been really supportive in Project Search, and I really appreciate that, and thank you.
Well, Michael, thank you very much, and thank you for the important work that you do and the important service that you provide to community members of our community. Appreciate it very much. Chad Von Onen, who's director of JCDS. Chad, is there anything you'd like to say?
I think they've covered it well.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
If you all can come together around Michael here. Anybody else? Yeah. Mom and Dad, if you'd like to be in the photo.
Come on, Kim. Come on, Forrest. Forrest, Kim, come on.
Come in back.
You need to be up here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good job. Good job. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
No, no problem.
At this time, we'll turn to the public comment portion of our agenda. If there's anyone present who would like to address the commission on an item which does not later occur on our agenda, would invite you to the podium, state your name and address, and would be glad to receive that information. If there's no one to be heard, the public comment portion of our agenda is concluded. I do have one note for the record this morning. I will be signing an agreement with the City of Overland Park for construction of a stormwater management project known as Lamar, 91st Street to 95th Street stormwater improvements. Moving to the consent agenda, would the clerk please read the proposed consent agenda items?
Item number 1, consider approving the September 27, 2018 business session minutes. Item number 2, consider authorizing a contract change order with V.F. Anderson Builders for additional construction work required under the Indian Creek 2 Contract 21 Interceptor Capacity Improvements Project in an amount not to exceed $137,572.68, increasing the total contract to $4,925,197.51. And item number 3, consider authorizing the amendment to the county's wellness strategy for 2019 to 1, expand the current voluntary outcomes-based wellness program for employees to include spouses, and 2, include a participation-based option for employees and spouses while maintaining the tobacco cessation incentive and the budget-neutral incentive structure.
I'm going to ask that item number 3 be withdrawn. There's a small update that Commission needs to be aware of. Any other questions on item 1 and 2? Is there anyone present who would like to have either one of those items considered separately? If not, it's back before the Commission. Mr. Osterhaus.
I'll move that we approve consent agenda items 1 and 2 as read.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to approve the consent agenda items 1 and 2 as presented. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Schaefer.
Aye.
Commissioner Klicka.
Aye.
Commissioner Osterhaus.
Aye.
Commissioner Ashcraft.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown.
Aye.
And Chairman Eilert.
Aye. Motion carried. Cameron, can you give us the update on item number 3?
Yes, I'd be happy to. Cameron Ahrens, Benefits and Wellness Manager. The primary change was a clarification regarding what is necessary for spouses to complete if they choose to do the outcomes-based program, which is considered option 1 under this briefing sheet. And basically, I testified at the agenda review that the health risk assessment was necessary or was included as something that a spouse needed to complete, and that is not correct. Spouses are exempt from doing the health risk assessment, so they will primarily just need to be screened either through an on-site screening with the county or through their physician, and then Bravo will analyze the biometrics to confirm whether they met 4 out of the 5.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
To approve. To approve. Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to approve item number 3. Is there anyone who would like to address the commission on this item? If not, and there are no further questions, will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Schaefer.
Aye.
Commissioner Klicka.
Aye.
Commissioner Osterhaus.
Aye.
Commissioner Ashcraft.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown.
Aye.
And Chairman Eilert.
Aye. Motion carried. Moving to the action agenda, item number 4.
Resolution number 086-18, consider City of Gardner application numbers FDP-18-06, final development plan for new sales office building and recreation area additions at the Conestoga Manufactured Home Park, 1199 East Santa Fe, Gardner, Kansas.
Mr. Leipzig.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Jay Leipzig, Planning Department. This item on behalf of the City of Gardner is for the Conestoga Manufactured Home Park in the City of Gardner. It is within 1 mile of the Johnson County New Century Airport. This is for a recreation area and sales office for the mobile home park. You might have been reading recently, they've been doing a series of improvements over there. This action was approved by the City of Gardner on August 28, 2018. It's also unanimously approved or recommended for approval by the Airport Commission on September 24th of 2018, and staff is recommending approval.
And again, this is before us because it's within the 1 mile of the airport.
Yes, that's
Okay,
correct.
Thank you. Other questions? Anyone present who would like to address the commission on this item? No one to be heard. Do I hear a motion, Mr. Brown?
Thank you, Chairman. I move to adopt resolution number 086-18 approving City of Gardner application number FDP-18-06 for the reasons and subject to the stipulations set forth within the resolution.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to approve the resolution as recommended. Any further questions or discussion? There being none, clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Schaefer.
Aye.
Commissioner Klicka.
Aye.
Commissioner Osterhaus.
Aye.
Commissioner Ashcraft.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown.
Aye.
And Chairman Eilert.
Aye. Motion carried. Next item.
Make a note that the board is setting as the governing board of the Fire District Number 2 with item number 5 and item number 6.
Thank you
Item
very
number
much.
5, consider approving the September 27th, 2018 special business session minutes, sitting as the governing board of Fire District Number 2.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to approve the minutes of the fire.
Motion's
board.
made and seconded to approve the Fire Board minutes, September 27, 2018. Are there any corrections or additions? If not, clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Schaefer was absent that night.
Correct.
So Commissioner Schaefer,
Abstain.
Commissioner Klicka,
Aye.
Commissioner Osterhaus,
Aye.
Commissioner Ashcraft,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
and Chairman Eilert.
Aye, motion carried. Next item on the Fire Board agenda.
Consider approving the October 2018 payables for Fire District Number 2.
Chief?
Good morning. Here for the October payable approval.
Okay. Any questions? Mr. Klicka?
No, I don't have, ready to make motion when you're ready.
That's fine. No, go
I
ahead.
move to have the, don't you want to ask if there's any comments from the public or questions from the public?
Well, that'll be fine. I was going to ask after the motion was made, but,
Oh, okay.
right.
You've done 10,000 times before.
I move to have the board approve the payables for October 2018 as shown in the check register from September 21 through October 18th, 2018.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve. Is there anyone present who would like to address this item? I will be signing the checks as soon as we're concluded with our meeting this morning. Mr. Ashcraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just going to note I visited with Chief Francis, and they are making progress on integrating their financial systems with the counties, and I'm happy for their impending success.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Schaefer.
Aye.
Commissioner Klicka.
Aye.
Commissioner Osterhaus.
Aye.
Commissioner Ashcraft.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown.
Aye.
And Chairman Eilert.
Aye. Motion carried. We have concluded our business as regards to the Fire Board. Are there any other action items?
No, sir.
If not, then reports and communications. Ms. Postoke Ferguson.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. You have 3 items on the manager's memo today. The first one is the SERI report as of August. The unemployment rate was 3% cumulative to that point year to date, and that is just a slight decrease from last year. And the single year-to-date cumulative sales of single-family homes is at 7,807, which is similar to this time last year. And then the year-to-date cumulative permits issued are up 8.7% year-to-date. The City of Lenexa on November 6, 2018 will hold a public hearing to consider adoption of redevelopment TIF Project Plan 3, generally located south of Prairie Star Parkway and east of Ridgeview Road, concerning 38.69 acres of land. And then on November 6th, the City of Lenexa will hold a public hearing to consider adoption of redevelopment TIF Project Plan 4, generally located at Renner Boulevard and 93rd Street, and that's regarding 315,000 square feet of retail and restaurants. Both are 20 years. So with that, I'll stand for questions.
Questions? Mr. Ashcraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I was just going to note on Project 3, the second item, this TIF is being used for what is traditionally considered, I think, a brownfield redevelopment. It was a former strip mine, so that makes a lot of sense. I wish them success. I don't know how that works, but that's got to be a big project. On the next item, though, Plan 4, the third item, will we get information in terms of the impact that this TIF will have as we go forward on potential revenues that the county will or will not receive? Is that, when the projects come in, we'll get that update, won't we?
Well, we do. I don't know if this is what you're asking, but attached is the resolution and project plan, including feasibility study. And if you're talking about updates, how we're doing compared to the feasibility study, I'm not sure we get those, looking at staff. But Chris, are you aware if we typically get those? We do get those, and that's what you forward to the commissioners. So
Okay.
He said, yes, we will get updates.
Very good. Thank you.
Any other questions? Any other, does that conclude the reports?
Nothing further. Thank you.
All right. Moving to commission comments. Mr. Schaefer.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had an interesting week last week, and the most important event of the past week was, of course, the 43rd Annual Conference and Exposition of the Kansas Association of Counties. Had a chance, and I know a number of us were there and attended a number of the meetings, but the two most important ones to me were the concurrent education workshops. But why can't things just stay the same? That's very important to us all. And another one was protecting local taxpayers, addressing dark store threats. That was very informative as well. As well, we had a chance to do some other things, and this was another most important event. Monday evening, I believe I attended the last Leawood City Council meeting, receiving final approval of the Kansas City Power and Light substation that's being installed at our Tomahawk Creek wastewater facility. So I think that's the final city council approval. Is that correct? There's a shake head yes, thank you. So we're glad that's complete. We want to thank Tammy and her crew for surviving all the meetings and all the questions that were brought from the council, and we're looking forward to fulfilling our promises to our citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Klicka.
Nothing to report.
Mr. Ashcraft.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to acknowledge that this is the 50th anniversary of a lot that happened in America in 1968, and many of us remember the Prague Spring and the Tet Offensive and the challenges with the assassinations of Martin Luther King and Robert Kennedy and the Democratic National Convention. But, Mr. Chairman, there was another momentous event, and I want to make sure that we at least take a moment and recognize that about 50 years and 2 days ago, this world was blessed with a very robust, delightful, and boisterous baby Brown. So, Mike Brown, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Osterhaus.
I'm not sure I can top that, and it was robust the right word? Is that bold? There we go. Okay. Had a few things going on this last week. We, of course, our monthly JCAB meeting, and there's a lot of important prioritization that goes on in those meetings, and if there's certain items that I think if the commission or any citizen is interested in, I'd be happy to sit and talk with them about that and the prioritization of what we do at JCAB. It kind of goes under the radar because they do so well, but it's important work for our youth and for our criminal justice system. Also had the opportunity to attend the Moxa Fall Forum. Moxa does a lot of work for those victims of sexual assault. I'm proud to sit on their Johnson County Advisory Board, and I'm proud to say they've raised $52,000 at that fall forum. So we'll be able to continue a lot of the important work that they do. Finally, I'll end with saying happy birthday to Mike. I'm sorry I couldn't make it to your party, but happy birthday.
Thank you.
Mr. Brown.
Chairman, I'm sure you'll be surprised and likely pleased. I have no comments today. Thank you.
Must have been a big celebration.
It was a really big party.
Well, I want to say a special thank you to some of our county staff who assisted in the Kansas Association of Counties conference Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, Penny and Jennifer, and I know there were others. And also a shout out to Mental Health Director Tim DeWeese, who presented yesterday morning to the county commissioners and on mental health issues. And I think it should be noted that around the state, there is a very high level of concern in many, many different areas and their ability to provide mental health services. And I would simply note that last year in our legislative agenda, we asked for consideration from the legislature to exempt mental health services from the tax lid. And with the awareness that's growing in our community and around our state, I think we need to work hard again this next upcoming session and see if they will give us the flexibility to meet the growing needs in all of our communities in regards to mental health issues. So thanks to all for participating in that conference. We do not have a request for an executive session, so we will adjourn, take a short break, and come back for agenda review for next week's session. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
time, we'll call to order the Board of County Commissioners meeting for the purpose of agenda review for next week's business session. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Schaefer. Here. Commissioner Allen is absent. Commissioner Klicka.
Here.
Commissioner Osterhaus.
Here.
Commissioner Ashcraft.
Here.
Commissioner Brown.
Here.
And Chairman Eilert.
Here. We do have a quorum. Would the clerk please read the proposed item number 1, the action agenda?
Consider approving the October 4th, 2018 business session minutes.
Mr. Klicka was absent, so it will remain on action. Next item.
Item number 2, resolution number 071-18. Conduct a public hearing to receive comments on the proposed 2019 action plan with an estimated funding amount of $2,165,000 or $165,434, consisting of an estimated $1,080,000 in CDBG and $1,085,434 in home funds for housing and community development. Consider authorizing the county manager to execute related documents, and consider authorizing the submission of the 2019 action plan for housing and community development to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development as recommended by the Housing and Community Development Advisory Committee.
Vicki Schmidt.
Vicki Schmidt, Human Services. In 2018, Johnson County and 16 cities officially renewed cooperation agreements required to allow Johnson County to continue to qualify as an urban county and receive annual community development block grant and home funds from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Each city that has a cooperation agreement may submit a CDBG application to the county after it has conducted a local public hearing and the submission of the application is approved by the City Council. Nonprofits may also submit applications to the county after approval from their board of directors. All CDBG applications are reviewed by county staff to ensure they are eligible CDBG projects and that they meet a CDBG national objective. To educate the cities about the CDBG program, letters explaining the program and the application process were sent out to every mayor participating in the cooperation agreement with the county. Notification emails were sent to a CDBG distribution list made up of past participants or contacts that have shown an interest in the program. Written notice of the funding opportunity was posted on the county website and printed in the Olathe News. An announcement targeting nonprofits was made at the Johnson County Continuum of Care meeting, and we held an application workshop open to all for all interested cities, nonprofits, and county agencies on April 17th, 2018. The county offered additional technical assistance to all interested applicants, and applications were due to the county on May 24th. On July 23rd, city, county agency, and nonprofit applicants presented their CDBG projects to a panel of 4 members of the BOCC-appointed Housing and Community Development Advisory Committee. Advisory members scored the applications and provided the 2019 CDBG funding recommendations included in the 2019 action plan. CDBG regulations allow for up to 15% of the grant to be used for public service activities, including emergency assistance for low-income or homeless individuals and families, which the advisory committee adhered to in its recommendation. The 2019 action plan is required for funding by HUD and includes CDBG funding recommendations, project descriptions, and proposed outcomes. The plan covers year 5 of the 2015 through 19 Johnson County Consolidated Plan approved by the BOCC in October 2014. Federal regulation and Johnson County's approved citizen participation plan require a 30-day public comment period and public hearing to be conducted on the proposed 2019 action plan prior to its final submission to HUD. On September 22nd, a public notice announcing the posting of the proposed plan and the 30-day public comment period of September 23rd through October 22nd and the public hearing date of October 25th was published in the Olathe News and on the Johnson County Community Development website. The 2019 action plan is presented in HUD's required online format to comply with federal reporting requirements. The county followed the citizen participation plan approved by the BOCC to notify the public of this hearing and our interest in their comments. No written comments have been received to date.
And I just wanted to tag on a little bit to what Vicki has just said.
Ms. Collins, could you identify yourself?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought everybody knew me. I'm Debbie Collins with the Human Services Department. My apologies. The whole issue about affordable housing and homelessness has really become very prominent in our community. And I just wanted to let you all know that related to CDBG, and there's also other efforts going on outside of CDBG that are helping to address some of the homelessness and affordable housing issues. Specifically, I wanted to point out that the continuum of care on homelessness, which Vicki referenced earlier, that is actually administered by the United Community Services and kind of managed by them, but we're a very active participant in that. They have received over $700,000 in funding from HUD specific to affordable housing and homelessness type, rapid rehousing and homelessness issues. So there is a lot of that work that is going on even beyond just the county departments. Also, we do receive an emergency solutions grant that is actually administered through the community development funding, and that provides us with a little over about $337,000 for us to provide emergency shelter and street outreach, which our mental health department is doing a fantastic job with street outreach with our homeless folks, and also rapid rehousing services. Vicki also mentioned that CDBG restricts us to only 15% of the allocation for our community to be used toward public services. And so those are projects that could very specifically be tied to homelessness and affordable housing issues. One of the things that we do plan to do this next legislative session is to add a plank on our platform, our federal platform, to encourage HUD to enable us to actually allocate a larger percentage of that funding to public service projects that might be able to impact affordable housing in some way. I don't know how much success we'll have because HUD has always been pretty firm about wanting to be kind of more the bricks and mortar kind of projects, and housing and human service, or health and human services, typically provides more of the project-based, for public services. But that is another thing that we're going to be doing as well, is looking for more opportunities within health and human services to see if we can apply for some grants that become available for our community. So there's a lot that is going on within the conversation in our community regarding housing and affordable housing. And so I just wanted you to know that there's a lot more than just CDBG that is happening, because you all have probably run into this issue multiple times as you've been out on campaign trails and as you talk to constituents. And so I wanted to provide you with any of that information. I'm happy to talk to any of the rest of you if you want more information about specifics. We can certainly do that too.
Well, thank you for sharing that. It is a topic that is of important interest to many, many people. So thank you very much for that information.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Mr. Ashcraft.
Mr. Chairman, I was just going to follow on with what you said. Ms. Collins, I appreciate the expansion on Ms. Schmidt's comments. That is an emerging issue, and I appreciate your initiative, and I'm very supportive of trying to frame something for legislative approach. I know it'll be a challenge, but as Mr. Thompson and I sat through some federal presentations at the NACO conference the last couple of years, at least at the national level, the executive level, there seemed to be an interest in that. So hopefully we can work through that. So
yeah, we'd love to take advantage of that interest. So
yeah, we hope it'll work. Yes.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
There is a public hearing required, so this will remain on action. Next item.
Item number 3, resolution number WD 18-036. Conduct a public hearing and consider authorizing funds to construct the Shawnee Mission Turkey Creek Sewer District Number 1, Contract 38 for Johnson County Wastewater in an amount not to exceed $3,572,595 and increasing the total project authorization to $3,750,595.
Ms. McCary.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioner. Susan Pekarik with Wastewater. The Turkey Creek Interceptor is located along I-35 and Turkey Creek. We've got a map up on the screen here, and you can see I-35, and just right here in the northeast corner of the map, that's the intersection, or the interchange, I should say, with I-635. A section of the 42-inch Turkey Creek Interceptor pipe was identified as high risk during an inspection that was conducted as part of Johnson County Wastewater's asset management and stream crossing programs. In addition, we had previously identified capacity improvements that were also needed throughout the section of this Turkey Creek sewer system. This project will increase the capacity as well as reduce the risk of the existing crossings. So for right here, our existing sewer, I should say, crosses underneath I-35, and we've identified some structural deterioration that we want to take care of by rerouting that pipe. And then right along here, I don't know if you can see the creek that as it comes close to I-35, you may have seen it off the right-hand side of I-35, our interceptor crosses the creek right there, and that is also a high-risk crossing. So our plan so the existing sewers are shown here in green, and then what we're proposing to do is reroute the existing sewers. We'll take red will be a new line, and the yellow will be a new line, and then the blue represents the existing sewer that we'll then abandon as part of this project. The board authorized design funding in July of 2017. We've completed the design and bid the project. This request is for the funding, and the next agenda item will be requests to authorize the contract with the contractor to construct the project. This amount of request is $3,572,595. This project was included in our most recent CIP that we presented to the board in May.
Okay. Questions?
I've got
Mr. Brown.
just a couple.
Yes, sir.
Is everything in the picture here in Johnson County, Kansas, or is that Wyandotte County to the north across 635?
Wyandotte County starts at Lamar, so just a little bit north of here.
Okay, gotcha. And then the blue line that's going to be abandoned, will it be removed and vacated, or truly do we just leave it in the ground?
I will find out and let you know. We usually abandon those in place and fill them with flowable fill. So
thank you.
All right, well, again, this requires public hearing, so it will remain on action. Thank you very much. Next item.
Item number 4, invitation for bid number 2018-044. Consider authorizing a contract with Rodriguez Mechanical Contractors Incorporated to construct the Shawnee Mission Turkey Creek District Number 1 Contract 38 project in an amount not to exceed $2,908,750.
Susan.
Chairman and Commissioners, so this is the authorization for the construction contract. Let's see here. So bids were open for this project on August 30th. The project was advertised in the Olathe Daily News as well as on several electronic sites, including the county's bidding website powered by IonWave, as well as on our website and Drexel Technologies plan room. We also held a mandatory pre-bid conference for this project for interested bidders. We received 8 bids on this project, so that we felt like we had a good number of bidders interested in the project. Rodriguez Mechanical was the lowest bidder for $2,908,750. The consulting engineer's opinion of probable cost was $2,763,000. HDR, the consulting engineer, they reviewed Rodriguez's bid and their qualifications, and they do recommend awarding the contract to Rodriguez. Johnson County Wastewater agrees with that recommendation. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Mr. Klicka, did you have a question?
Just a comment, Mr. Chairman. First of all, Susan, I do agree with what you've got here, and I appreciate it, and we'll support it. On another note, I just wanted to call attention to you and your department at this point here for the efforts that you all have a lot of projects going on. We talk about the parks and all the activities they are, but you have a substantial amount of projects going on, including with the treatment center and so forth. And I just wanted to compliment you and your staff for staying on top of all of these. Not only are you dealing with the new projects, but you're dealing with the upkeep of the existing infrastructure. And you're doing so where I think we're understanding it more and more every day, what you're dealing with. But congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Ashcraft, you have a question.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Mr. Carrick, it looks like the bid amounts came in a little bit over the opinion of probable cost, and that to me is not really an issue. I understand that things change, and it does look like you got a very good selection of potential bids. In previous conversations, sometimes I've asked, well, why so few as a concern? And sometimes the response is, well, there's a lot of competition out there, there's a lot of construction things going on, and it's hard to get people interested because they've got so much other work. Is this saying something about the change in the construction dynamic and the construction industry, or is this just a fluke? And in some ways it's good, but I was just wondering if you were seeing a change, and that was my question.
Well, you know, we haven't bid too many projects recently, maybe a couple others this year. I don't know that we're necessarily seeing a change. I don't know that I have an answer to your question, to be honest. I will research that, and I'll get back to you on that.
Maybe Commissioner Brown has researched it and has an observation.
I have some observation on that, and that is that going into winter, as you're looking into winter and you're a contractor, you will go bid things. Otherwise, other parts of the year, you may not.
Okay.
It keeps your crews busy and keeps you rolling, and you're a little more competitive. You're cash flowing.
Very good. Thank you. That makes sense.
Very good.
Thank you.
Well, again, this is a companion item to the previous item, which requires a public hearing, so it will stay on action. Next item.
Item number 5, resolution number 088-18. Consider adopting certain amendments to the Johnson County zoning and subdivision regulations in accordance with recent Planning Commission recommendations.
Mr. Leipzig.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Jay Leipzig, Planning Department. Karen Miller is also here this morning. I wanted to especially thank Karen for her work on this report as we bring this forward to you. We're excited about this. It's something we've been working on for quite some time. You have a lot of materials in front of you. Part of your packet, there's the briefing sheet, which summarizes all of the proposed changes. There's also the resolution for the board. There's also the final version of the Planning Commission, the recommendation, their final report is attached to that, along with the Planning Commission meeting minutes. We also have a copy of the Planning Commission resolution as well. But just to summarize, these amendments, we have a special committee that was created, the Planning Commission, to look at some inconsistent development patterns throughout the county. That group, we talked about the creation of it back in November and December of last year. That group started meeting in January. I believe they met five times. We also met to talk about the various issues. We also met with representatives of all the fringe cities throughout the county, just to make sure that whatever we were proposing was consistent with their long-range comprehensive plans and their subdivision regulations as well. So we had several conversations, and it was a good opportunity to network with those other cities as well. And so I think it was a great exercise overall. The summary, the intent of the zoning regulations essentially is to allow lots in the RUR, the rural district, to take access into our arterial streets through the Comprehensive Arterial Road Network Plan, or CARNP. It also changes the infrastructure category from water that shall be available, or in other words, recommended to be provided, rather than water being required to be provided from a public water source, shall be recommended. So it gives us additional flexibility in doing that. Also encouraging street and right-of-way connectivity for the adjacent properties, and also refining our existing subdivision regulations. Essentially what this does is gives us additional flexibility when we review site plans to look at long-term capacity and long-term connection with not only the county's overall comprehensive plan, but also the comprehensive plan and subdivision regulations of the city that that it's adjacent to or could be possibly annexed by. So it just gives us additional flexibility there. The subdivision regulations generally affect Chapter 30 and Chapter 31. As a summary then, we had a joint meeting between the Planning Commission and this board on June 28th, 2018. Very positive meeting, a lot of great comments and questions were expressed that evening. The Planning Commission then took those comments and refined those and voted to recommend final approval of this document with the subdivision regulations to you on August 28th of 2018. And with that being said, I will turn over to any questions you might have. I will say the next steps, I think, after hopefully the adoption of these, will be looking at ensuring that our comprehensive plan from the county is consistent with the other cities and making those changes and refining our comprehensive plan to ensure conformity, and also working with our long-range project is working with our development review committee on the way we process applications so that we have multiple meetings with developers and landowners to hopefully mitigate problems and concerns early in the process. And overall we get a better planning product that way as well. So I think that has been a great step forward for us.
Chairman, may I add a comment to this? Jay was hired just over a year ago, and this was the first charge I gave him to tackle, and it's been a long process, and you can tell that he's got a lot of input and has had several iterations to the Planning Commission and zoning board members and community members, the outreach you heard to the cities and others, and I just want to emphasize that this is I hope you have seen some changes that have come as a result of Jay's leadership and this discussion with this task force. Appreciate the planning commissioners that devoted time as well, because there was a period of time, as we all know, that items came forward and staff had to make recommendations that continuously there were policy decisions that had to go against that. So we finally got wise to say maybe our policies aren't in line with what you guys really want. So appreciate the urging of Commissioner Brown and Commissioner Klicka to really take a look at that. I want to say a special thank you to Karen Miller, who has really put a lot of time and study and careful thought into this and made sure we didn't miss areas. And so her leadership in helping this has been noticed, Karen, and thank you. I also want to thank Brian Pedig, who with me had to work through some tough issues, and so Brian has stayed with us. As you know, Brian was interim planning director for a period of time as we dealt with some of these tough issues and helped us navigate and gave advice and is still involved. He's here today through the transition, and appreciate that, Brian. And also, Maury has stepped up and helped facilitate some of these discussions, and also has taken on an extra department during our transition in our office with a vacancy that we're currently filling, in the process of filling for assistant county manager, taking on planning as an extra department on top of his already list of departments. So this is a big improvement for planning, and I appreciate Jay's leadership to come in new and with his perspective of other organizations in the metro area has helped provide us guidance to get here. So I just wanted to say thank you to a lot of time and effort that's been put into bringing this to you today.
So noted. I think we should leave this on action, as there may be interested parties who want to speak next week. So other questions? Mr. Ashcraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Leipzig, yes, good job. Good job. So you can at least check one thing off your list. So very good. And you have made mention of this, and I think we all generally agree, when a county like ours is transitioning from a rural kind of context into a more suburban context, there are a lot of bumps along the way, a lot of questions, a lot of issues in terms of how that transition progresses, how quickly, and all the working parts that support that. Mm-hmm. But my question was, given the fact that, or maybe I should put it this way, do we have a sense of what Johnson County will look like in 20 years or at build-out in terms of this transition from rural to suburban? And do you believe that these changes in these regulations facilitate that, or are there other things that we still need to address within the context of what is probably inevitable will likely come?
Oh, thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate the question. That's something that I think about all the time, frankly, is how we can ensure that Johnson County is the best quality county, highest quality county in the country, but at the same time that our development patterns are consistent with what is happening around us, so we're not an island unto ourselves. So looking at that, these regulations is a huge step forward in terms of ensuring that consistency of what we have. And we were doing that before, but it was more of it wasn't a set system, and I think these changes will formalize that and give us that additional advantage. But that being said, it's planning it's very fluid and it's always changing, and I think we are blessed with all of the activity going on in our county, that typically a comprehensive plan, for example, has a 20-year lifespan usually. I think our lifespan for these regulations and these changes are considerably less. I think our next step then is to look at our comprehensive plan. We have the term or the title of it is the Rural Comprehensive Plan. It really should be the Suburban Comprehensive Plan. That is changing, so we need to look at that. The other next step is to look at our plan districts to ensure that those have additional flexibility. Historically, plan districts were created to give you that additional flexibility that you couldn't develop, or because of the stipulations, you couldn't develop by right. So you needed some additional flexibility, and then something you would develop through a plan district. Our plan districts have become very, very regulated, and so we're kind of looking at that, making those changes, and I think that will also help. That's another kind of a long-range idea. And then the third part is just really looking at not only with our comprehensive plan, but looking at the cities around us. I know that it's a unique time because the city of DeSoto is in the process of updating theirs. And with the Sunflower plan is something we need to pay very close attention to. Also, the city of Olathe is undertaking an effort. The city of Overland Park is undertaking that effort as well. So we really need to look at all of these, and the city of Edgerton. I mean, the list just goes on and on of different development plans that are being updated or improved. So we need to always be aware of ensuring that our development regulations are consistent with ours.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Mr. Brown?
I will make a quick comment. Having been a commissioner now for just about 2 years, I've seen our planning department go through a whole lot of changes in very rapid succession. And there have been times that I have made motions that ran contrary to what our planning department and what our planning commission had originally set out and what direction we were headed, based on what I was hearing in the community from the people that I represent in the 6th District. And I want to say thank you to the County Manager's Office staff for leading this, and a special thank you to Jay, both in terms of this policy and your overall demeanor and how you conduct yourself with our planning department. It shows, I hear it, feedback comes back to me. And also a thank you to Brian for holding down the fort, Mr. Pedig in the meantime, who did a nice job on an interim basis to keep it steady. But with Jay there, it has my world on calls, complaints, and issues in my district relative to planning and all of those types of issues have minimized, and that generally no news is good news, because I hear if there is a problem. So my thank yous. I appreciate what you do. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Any other comments, Mr. Clinton?
I'm going to echo what Commissioner Brown. He and I, probably more than anyone else on this dais, interacts with the planning department here because of the nature of our districts being substantial rural. And while I paid a serious compliment to Susan, Jay, you and I we've worked together on a lot of issues here It's almost gets to, if not weekly, daily. And the common thread I get from the folks that you interact with is extremely positive. You've taken a personal commitment to customer service or citizen commitment, and unfortunately puts a lot more burden on you because they want to talk to you. And but that again, like with Commissioner Brown, it takes a substantial amount of pressure off of us in trying to have to mitigate every issue that's arising in those communities. Thank you, sir.
All right, well, again, this will remain on action. Are there any other items to be reviewed?
No, sir.
All right, that concludes our agenda review. We do not have an afternoon session, so everybody enjoy the weekend, and go Chiefs on Sunday night. We are adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.